EBC students, staff, all of our distinguished guests here, Ms. Mayor, distinguished guests from various banks and organizations. Thank you for being here. EBC feels very thankful and lucky that we get to host this special event today, sponsored by the National Diversity Coalition, to have a special reading today for Ms. Mayor. Let's make some noise if you guys are excited. We are proud of our students. EBC is the top achieving elementary school in our entire area, and it's because our kids work so hard day in, day out. Students, we're about to begin. Please be respectful. At the end, I'm sure there might be questions if you guys have questions, but this is going to be an amazing opportunity.
Are you ready, recording?
Without further ado, let's go ahead and make some noise for Faith Bautista.
What's wrong?
How are you? Yeah, good. I'm super excited. We just came. My name is Miss Faith Bautista, and I want to tell you that I came to this country at a very young age, not as young as you are. And I was telling other people that this country has so much opportunity, and now today is our blessed day. You know why? Because when we grow up, we're gonna be like Miss Sheila Bear, we're gonna be like Mr. Johnson today, we're gonna be like somebody when we grow up. We're gonna be financially educated. We're gonna make sure that we do not spend the money that we do not have. We're gonna make sure that we save a lot of money. And we're gonna be sure that we're going to be a good person when we grow up, and we're gonna be rich. But the only way you can be rich if you know how to manage your money responsibly. So today we're gonna have fun, okay? I want you to listen to Miss Sheila Bear's book. It's very good book. And you can ask questions. And I want you also to listen to Mr. Johnson today, because guess what? He is a banker. He keeps all our money, but not all. So let me introduce to you first Mr. Johnson today. He works for a bank called Bank of California. So Mr. John?
You guys are amazing. Thank you, Faith. I'm so excited to be here with you, and thank you to the National Diversity Coalition for bringing us all together here today. And it's just so amazing to see everyone. As Faith mentioned, I work at Bank of California, and what we do at Bank of California is help our clients manage their money. And that's really important for me because I've worked at a bank for pretty much all my life, since I was just out of high school. And I love helping young people like you learn about financial literacy. Learning about how to earn money, how to save money, how to keep it safe, and if you need to borrow money, how to do it the right way. We all need financial literacy because with financial literacy, it helps us buy things, buy a home, buy food, buy clothes, buy things that we need, video games, things that we want for fun. And it's really important that you learn how to do that at an early age. Have any of you heard of Guinness Book of World Records? Anybody heard what that is? All right, so if you haven't, for those who haven't, the Guinness World Record is given to someone or a company that does something bigger or better than anyone else has ever done before. And financial literacy is so important to us at Bank of California that about 10 years ago, we got a Guinness Book of World Record for having the largest financial literacy class ever, with almost 6,000 people, which was super cool and very amazing. We still hold that record.
Well, what's really cool, as you heard, is we have a special guest here today, Miss Sheila Bear. And she's going to tell us some stories that she's written about money and credit. Miss Sheila worked for the government before she became a book writer. She was chair of the FDIC, that's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, from 2006 to 2011. And she really helped our country get through some tough times with our finances during that period. Ms. Sheila's done a lot to help build trust in government and to help make sure our country and our citizens will be financially safe. She used to also be a teacher. She used to teach finance in college, and she was a college president. And then the super cool thing to me is Forbes magazine said that she was the second most powerful woman in the world. That is amazing.
Thank you.
So let's welcome Ms. Sheila Bear.
No, I'm good, thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, that was very kind. Appreciate it. Good. Okay. Okay, great. Great. Well, thank you everyone for that really kind introduction. It's wonderful being here. Thanks for the gorgeous weather. Where I came from, Washington, D.C., it's really kind of cold and windy and rainy. My name's Sheila Bear. I used to be the chair of a government agency called the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. How many of you have ever been to a bank? Oh, a lot of you. How many of you have bank accounts? Good, that's good. So when you've gone to the bank, have you ever seen a sign that says FDIC insured? You ever seen a sign? Yeah, you did, okay. Great, so most banks are doing a really good job taking really good care of your money. Every once in a while, a bank makes a mistake with your money. And then it's the job of the FDIC to make sure your money is protected, that everybody you will put into the bank and what's called a deposit, you can always get out and access. And the FDIC has a perfect record of protecting people's money, the money they put into banks. Now, it's not unlimited. The FDIC only protects deposits up to a certain amount. Can anybody guess? Does anybody know what that cap is? Yeah, what do you think that cap is? Speak up, yeah? 1,000, a little higher. Anybody else want to guess? Yeah, let's get 2,500. Okay, a little higher. Yeah, back there. Shout real loud so I can hear you. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you. It's $250,000. That's a lot of money, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Who here has more than $250,000 in their bank? Oh, come on. Most people, come on. Most people, okay, yeah. Well, I tell you, if you have more than 250,000, you really shouldn't, because I tell households to stay below the $250,000 limit. Now, there are ways to get more. If you go on the FDIC's website, you can figure that out. Work with your folks, the adults in your household, to do that. If you're lucky enough to have more than 250,000, make sure you're protected by the FDIC. That's really, really important. Because my job when I chaired the FDIC was to keep your money safe, the money you had in banks. And we cared a lot about that. I worked very, very hard about it. And we had to do it during a very bad time period that occurred before you were born, called the Great Financial Crisis, when we did have some problems with banks. And we're way beyond that now, thank goodness. But my job then was to keep your money safe. Now I try to help people keep their money safe in a different way. I write children's books about how to handle money and not, build wealth, save, but importantly, not to lose your money. And I have 8 books total. It's a Money Tales series. And it's all about how to save regularly and build money, make more money, but through saving and investing, but also not how to lose money by making common financial mistakes, or worse, getting scammers, because there are some bad guys out there, especially on the internet. They're going to try to take your money when you grow up. So you need to be careful. You always need to be careful with your money and ask a lot of questions. So I'm going to read a book for you. This is the very first book I ever wrote. It came out in 2006. I've been at this for almost 20 years now. It's called Rock and the Saving Shock. So we're going to read this book, and then I'm going to pop this mic out and come down there and take some of your questions, and we'll have a fun time, okay? So here we go. Rock and the Saving Shock, my very first book. This is a tale of Rock and Brock, twins as different as ball and block. Rock ate good food, Brock gobbled junk. Rock liked to bathe, but Brock kinda stunk. Rock studied hard while Brock watched TV. Rock rose at dawn. Brock slept till 3. Rock was nearly a perfect guy, but here's the thing he loved to buy. His brother Brock lived like a slob, but saved his money by the gob. So there we go. There's Rock and Brock. Rock's a real neatnik, and Brock's kind of a slob, but one saves and one spends. So let's see what happens. One day their Gramps, a kindly man, proposed to them a savings plan. For 10 straight weeks each Saturday, I'll give you each $1 pay. To mow my lawn and wash my car, these simple chores will get you far, because I'll do a little trick. Each buck you save, I'll match it quick. But spend it, there's no extra dough. So save your cash and watch it grow. Then Gramps paid out, true to his word, $1 to each. Here's what occurred. Here we go. There's Gramps paying out. Brock's running off. Brock's kind of thinking about it. Brock saved his, but Rock's mind was stuck on what he could buy with his crisp new buck. Right away, he ran to the mall and bought a moose head for his wall. So he just spent his dollar right away on a silly toy like that, an inflatable moose head. Well, Brock saved his. The next week, Gramps gave out more bread, $1 each, just as he said. Rock had 1, Brock now had 2. Brock saved his dough, Rock wanted to, but couldn't resist the urge to buy a giant wind-up tsetse fly. So Rock just keeps spending on silly stuff. Brock's saving his money, and he's getting that match every week when he does. The third week, Gramps paid out some more. He matched Brock's 2 bills up to 4. Rock got 1 because he had no savings. Still, he gave in to spending cravings. After all, what can a guy do with half price off on green hair goo? He is really spending on silly stuff. Really bad. On week 4, Brock's dough redoubled, 4 to 8. Rock was befuddled. Rock got $1, which he promptly spent on wax fangs tasting like peppermint. Silly, silly Rock. The next week, Brock was tempted to buy an awesome toy he wanted to try, a rocket ship with a pop-off hatch. But if he bought it, he'd lose his match. He stopped himself when he reached the store, and so Gramps paid him $8 more. So there he is. He's thinking about buying that rocket ship, but if he does, he'll lose his match on the savings he has. So he stopped himself, decided not to spend, and got more savings that way. With nada for savings, Rock got just 1. Now, what do you think he bought? He bought some broccoli-flavored gum. Yuck, I know. This kid just does not think when he spends. Gramps paid out from summer to fall, while Brock saved his. Rock spent it all. He found toys for a dime at a yard sale, a car with 3 wheels, a polka dot snail. He bought such bargains with his cash, clown ears, fruit hat, a big mustache. Soon Rock, the neater of the boys, found himself waist deep in toys. Look at all that junk. Look at all that junk. He just can't control his spending itch. But Brock's cash grew and grew and grew. 8, then 16, then 32. His pile of bucks became so great, he had to store them in a crate. Look at all that money he's got, yeah. 10 weeks went by. Poor Rock was doomed. He had no cash. Brock's had ballooned. With matching dollars at the end, Brock had, wait for it, $512 to spend. There's Rock. He's just got empty pockets and more stupid toys. Silly boy. Brock used his cash to buy nice things. A telescope to see Saturn's rings. A book for Mom, a shirt for Dad. For Gramps, a robe of tartan plaid. See, those are all the nice quality gifts that he spent with his money. With $50 left, what did Brock do? He opened a bank account for two, an FDIC insured bank account. A joint account for him and his bro, a place to keep their hard-earned dough. Because Brock ate junk and hated his bath, but one thing he knew his math. He saved his money like a miser, and of the twins, he proved the wiser. So there he is, he's taking that 50 bucks, he's at the bank now, and he's opening up a banking account. By seeing Brock's humongous take, Rock finally realized his mistake. From that day on, he saved his loot and gave up on his spending toot. So there they are, they keep going to the bank and putting more money in the bank to save it. The twins stashed bucks in their account. For years and years, they watched them mount. And by the time both had gray hair, they found that they were millionaires. Yeah, check it out, huh? You know, that's a secret a lot of young people don't understand, but there's something called compounding, and we don't need to get into all the math. In the back of my book, and you should get copies of this book, I believe we donated some to your school, it explains the math behind compounding. But what you should know is that when you save money, you get interest. And that interest starts growing and growing, and it really grows into a big amount over time because of something called compounding. And if you keep adding savings, it gets really big. But the trick is to start really early. A lot of young people don't understand that. When they become adults, they want to spend all their money instead of save it. If they just save a little and let it build over time, they end up being millionaires just through the power of compounding. So that's my book. I hope you liked it. And now I'm going to see if you have questions, because it's hard for me to hear from this podium. So I'm going to come down there and we'll use the mic if I can get it out. Yeah, got it. Okay. All right.
Okay, ask really good questions. Okay.
Yeah, these are tech guys.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to ask the first question? Okay. Do you want tell your name and your age?
In here. Oh, it has to be plugged in. All right. So much for that idea. Well, they can come up here maybe then. Yeah. There you go, sweetheart.
My name,
Introduce yourself to Miss Sheila.
my name's Haiti, and I'm 10 years old. And my question is, what inspired you to start being an author?
So I wanted to be an author when I was your age. Actually, back then I wanted to write science fiction books. Do you like science fiction? I still think sometimes it would be fun to write a science fiction book. And some of my children's books actually take place on the Ganymede moon, which is an ice moon around Jupiter. So I always wanted to do it, but you know, it's really, really hard to make a living as a writer. I found out early on. So I became a lawyer instead, so I have a trade. And over the years, I made my way into financial services and became a regulator, but I never lost my passion for writing books. So I've written some adults books. One is called Bull by the Horns, which is a grown-up book, which was a New York Times bestseller. But in 2004, actually, this book came out in 2006, but in 2004, I decided to start writing children's books about finance. And I did that because I had already had some experience as a regulator in the financial area, and I'd just seen so many families with financial hardship because they didn't understand basics around managing their money. And then at the same time, I was also a mother of young children, and my husband and I every night would love to read picture books with our children. Do you like picture books? You ever read them with your family? They're fun to read out loud in the family, aren't they? So I thought, wow, this would be a really good way to tell some stories that have good financial lessons but are fun and entertaining and families can read together. So that's how I got my inspiration. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Hello, my name is Elijah, and I'm 9 years old. How long have you been an author?
So I've been a published author since 2006. I was also in academia, so I wrote a lot of academic journals that I published and wrote op-eds, and I still do that for newspapers, editorials and newspapers. So I've been doing that writing most of my career for 30 or 40 years. But in terms of books, I just started, my first book came out in 2006, so it's been a while. Yeah.
My question is, how old are you?
Out of all of them. How old do you think she is? Oh, and you know what? We're gonna give a computer if you guess her name.
42? 54.
Okay. All right. So whoever guessed whatever number, you tell me, okay? Because we have a computer that we're going to donate to you. Okay?
All right. So my birthday is April 3rd. I was born in 1954, so how old do you think I was? Yeah, I'm 70. I'm 70 on April 3rd. Oh my God! I can't believe it either. 59. Okay, but I tell you what, I am blessed with good skin from my mother, but also my parents really emphasized financial fitness, but also physical fitness, and the two are related. So let me just lecture a little bit on that. You know, get exercise and eat right, and you won't look your age. Anyway, good. I'm 69 right now. I'll be 70 in April. Yeah.
My name is Isabella, and my question is, what was your second book?
My second book, okay. So my second book, Rock and the Saving Shock, was my first book. My second book was a book called Isabel's Car Wash. And that's about the stock market. Is anybody, you know what have you ever heard of the stock market? You ever heard of the New York Stock Exchange? Yeah, no? Yeah, okay, there's no reason why you should have. So I used to work for the, you will later, believe me. I used to work for the New York Stock Exchange. And this book, Isabel's a little girl who wants to start a car wash, but she doesn't have the money to buy soap and chamois, all the things you need to have a car wash. So she goes to her friends and she gets them to each give them $1. And she says, if they invest in a business, it's called investing, give her the $1. If she makes money, she'll share some of the profits with them. And that's what happened. And fortunately, she was successful and her friends made money. Though if she had not been successful, her friends might have lost money. So that kind of investing, there's risk in that. But that's basically how a lot of businesses get started in this country. And the really big ones will get investments from millions, tens of millions of people. And that's how they get the money they need to operate. And then they share their profits. So that was my second book. And that's been a popular book, too. Yeah.
Make sure you read the books, okay?
Yeah.
So you can also ask question about banking because we also have a banker, Mr. John. So the winner, so what's your question?
As a lawyer, did you ever win a case?
Good question. Good question.
Yeah. So I did. I started my career as a government lawyer, enforcing civil rights laws this is a long time ago. Well, we still have these laws. They're important laws. They prohibit institutions that get federal funding from discriminating on people based on their race or gender or disability or ethnic origin. So yes, I enforce those cases, and I'm happy to say I won them all. Anybody? Should we? Yeah. You got bacon?
Hi, my name is Isabella, and my question is, what is your most popular book?
Oh, golly. So in terms of the books that sold the most copies, it's my book for grown-up. It's called Bull by the Horns. In terms of my children's books, Rock and the Saving Shock is the bestseller. It's been around the most, so you'd expect it to sell more books. But yeah, it's the nice thing about children's books is they're what publishers call evergreen. So they never really go out of style because they deal with issues that are always important, and then there are always new children to read them. So yeah, but Rock and the Saving Shock has sold the most copies, next to my grown-up book. Yep.
There's one here.
Okay. Okay, so you can sit in the back rows. Yes, yeah.
How many books did you make?
How many books? So there are 10 books altogether. I've got 8 Money Tales books, and then I've got Bull by the Horns, which is my grown-up book. And then I also wrote a book for teenagers called The Bullies of Wall Street, and that was about some of the bad behavior that caused this great financial crisis that I was telling you about earlier that I experienced when I was the chair of the FDIC. So that's 10 books altogether, and I'm working on a new book. This one's called How Not to Lose $1 Million. That's important. You know, it's important to make money. It's important not to lose it, too.
You should do a third grade one.
A third grade book. Well, these my Money Tales books are for third grade. They are. So if you're third grade, you're the perfect age for it. And yeah, and I hope to write more of those too, for sure. You got an idea for a book for me? What do you think I should write about?
You should write about what people do not disturb the teacher.
People who don't deserve a teacher?
And like people to talk back to the
Oh, well, we don't want that. Yeah. Well, you know, teaching's a tough job. Yeah, you should always be respectful of your teachers. They're important to you. And they're overworked and underpaid. So don't give them any trouble. Yeah.
What inspired you of making books for children, for teenagers, adults, and third grade?
Yeah.
Good question.
Well, that's a really good question, you know, because what I find is that everybody, every age, can always use help to understand about how to manage money and handle money and keep their money safe. And I find, even for my children's books, my Money Tales books, I get letters from parents and teachers too that say, thank you for writing this book. I learned something too. I wish I'd had this book when I was a child. So I try to reach everybody, and that's the nice thing about picture books is that children read it with their families. So, you know, you read them with your family, something too. So I think it's important for ages, and I try to reach all ages with books that all ages can understand and enjoy too. Yeah, good question.
Okay, we have a 3-year-old boy. Okay, tell your
Right.
name and what's your question.
My name is Sebastian. My question is, do you spend your money or do you save your money?
Oh, well, that's a really good question. All right, the 3-year-old gets the prize for a good question. So I spend some and I save some. So you have to spend some money, right? You need a place to live, you need clothes, you need food, you need transportation, so you have to spend some of your money. And then there are fun things to spend, you know, used with your money, like toys or games or going out to a park or whatever, a carnival, whatever. So there are fun things to do with money. But you should always save some of your money too. And we had a rule called Take Out 10 in my house. So every time we gave our child, every dollar we gave them, maybe it was for an allowance or a chore, or maybe some money for their birthday, or their grandparents gave them money for their birthday, we had Take Out 10. So automatically you take 10 cents out of every dollar you get and you put it in your piggy bank. Always saving 10%. And you can spend the rest, right? But you always take out 10%. And we used a clear piggy bank so our kids could watch that money get bigger and bigger in the piggy bank. And then when it got full, we take it to a real bank, put it in a deposit account where it could earn some interest. But you know, the trick to save, you don't have to save all your money. It's okay to spend money. It's important, you know, just make sure you spend your money on things that are important to you, that you enjoy, and also save some of your money so you have financial resilience. You know, life is full of unexpected things. Sometimes you have accidents, the car breaks down, whatever. You need to have some savings to fall back on. And then you also, when you get older, you don't want to work your whole life. You want to have enough money so you can retire. So it's important to save some of your money, but you don't have to save all of it. It's okay to spend it. But also, when you're spending on things you just want, you don't need, don't borrow, okay? Just stay away from debt. It's okay, certain types of debt are accepted and okay, like, you know, mortgage debt to buy a house, student debt, you know, for a good quality college education, even car debt. If you need to, you know, you need a car to get to work, starting a business, that's a good reason to borrow money because it costs a lot to start a business, and over time you will earn that money back. So some kinds of debt is okay, but make sure it's a debt that's going to make you better off, not worse off. And never, ever borrow to just do frivolous stuff like tsetse flies.
Hi, my name is Simha, and my question is, how do you spend the money for the books?
Oh, so I have a publisher, and they pay me some money to write the books, and then when the books sell, I get royalties. It's not a lot of money. I don't do this to make money. It's very little money. Unfortunately, you can't really make money writing children's books, and I don't do this for a living. I have other things I do for a living. But yeah, the publisher pays me a little something. And then I've raised money. I work with groups like the Diversity Coalition, and I've worked with another group called Foolproof to raise money to donate books to schools, because I want everybody to have as broad of access as possible to my books. But if they can't afford my books, then I want us to be able to make as many free copies as possible as available. Yeah. So, I would like to turn to the banker here. So what if these children are looking at opening a children's bank account? What kind of things should they and their parents be looking for? Do you offer accounts for children, and what are you looking at?
Yes, we do. We have accounts for children. As Ms. Sheila said, you want to start early. And one of the things I talk to new people who start at the bank, and these are young people, maybe 19, 20 years old, starting at a teller, I let them know if they save money in their retirement account. So most companies, when you start working, they'll offer you a retirement account. And a lot of those companies also match it. If you put your money in the retirement account and the company matches it, you will be a millionaire when you stop working and you retire.
Easily.
So it's really about starting early. You can never start too early. I think what Ms. Sheila said is right. Every time you earn $1, put a little bit away and bring it to the bank. And a lot of banks, including our banks, have special accounts for young people where we don't charge you any fees or any costs, because we want to encourage you to start saving your money early. And that's a really good thing to get used to doing early in your life.
Good, excellent.
I think one more question.
There we go.
How long did it make you to make all 10 books?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. So, do some of you want to be writers when you grow up? Maybe you want to write books too? Yeah, so okay. So make sure you got another job, because it's really hard to make money. But that's okay. I stuck with it, and I eventually got back to writing. So a children's book takes a while. So since I do other things, this isn't just the only thing I do, it will take me about 3 months to write the text, the words for my book. And then I'll send it to my publisher, and I have an editor at my publisher, and I have a really nice editor. We have a great working relationship, and she'll read it, and sometimes she'll have suggestions of how she thinks we can improve it, and sometimes those are great suggestions. And then my publisher picks an illustrator. I don't illustrate the books. They're a professional artist who work with publishers, including Albert Whitman. They pick the illustrator, and it'll take 6 or 7 months to get those illustrations done, and then another several months to actually get the book published. So start to finish, it's a couple of years. For my grown-up book, Bull by the Horns, it was much faster because there were no illustrations. And adult books generally are published much more quickly because those deal with more timely topics, so the publishers want them out right away. But as I say, children's books live their evergreen issues, their eternal issues, so you can take some time to get them in production and get them out where people can buy them in libraries, and you can be donated to. So yeah, about 2 years though, start to finish.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a dedication. Yeah, please.
How did you become an author?
So it was hard. It is hard to get published. I got rejected a lot. I did. I got a whole drawer full of books of rejection slips from publishers. And you know what I heard more than anything? I thought, oh, these kids will never understand it. Young kids don't understand anything about money. You got to wait until they're teenagers or adults. I think that's nonsense, don't you? Are you interested in money? You interested in money? Do you understand what that book was I just read? Yeah, thank you. Kids totally get money. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you're interested in an early age. Start learning year after year. Learn more about managing money, and when you grow up, you'll be in a really good financial shape. Good questions. Thanks.
Okay, did you ask?
One more? Okay.
Yeah. The last question.
How much books would you have in total of the adults with the teenager books?
Oh, so that would be 11 books total, and that'll be my 11th book when that comes out next year. I'm really excited about it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Great.
I have a question for Mr. John. So when we went to another school, the parents said that it's hard for them to bank because they don't speak English and they don't understand the fees. Can you talk to them about that, please?
Yes, so a couple of things. First, I think it's really important for banks to make sure that when we communicate with our clients, that we communicate in different languages so that people who don't speak English as their first language have the ability to understand how a bank account works. The other thing that's really important is to have accounts that are for people who are just going into their first banking relationship. There's a type of account called a bank on product. And this bank on product is not only good for people who have not had a banking account in the past, but it also puts some guardrails in place to help protect you with your first account. So you don't make some of the mistakes people make with their first accounts. And I think it's really, really important because as you do the things right, you start practicing doing things right early on in your life, then as you grow up and you make more money, then you're in a much better place to manage your own money. So again, a lot of banks do that. Our bank does that. And I said the most important thing is get started early, go with your parents to the bank and talk to them what they have to offer, and make sure you start early because it'll help you as you grow older.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. Yeah. So I just want to call also the California Public Utilities Commission, Ms. Jung. She's talking. Ms. Jung. So the reason why I invited California Public Utilities Commission is they provide low income, I don't want to say low income, but affordable gas, electric, broadband. So I want you to understand what California Public Utilities Commission does. And in this country, this is a beautiful country for me. You know why? Because everybody works together to help all of us. And I think this is what CPUC, just for a few minutes, and what you provide on the broadband for, this is internet.
So who here uses the internet for school? Does anyone use the internet for school? Okay. Does anyone use a cell phone, or your parents use a cell phone? Do your parents use a cell phone? Okay. So all of these things cost money. And what, you use Wi-Fi? iPad. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you all know what it's like. This stuff costs money, and certain areas don't have as good internet. And so what we work to do is make sure that there's this thing called the digital divide. Some people have really good internet, other people don't. So what we want to do is make sure everyone has equal access to the internet, because you can learn, or you can play games, or you can watch videos, you can do everything, right? It's part of being involved as a global citizen. So yeah, what's your question?
Do you work for the Wi-Fi?
I do not work for the Wi-Fi. I work for the state of California, which means Governor Newsom is my boss. But actually, no, you guys really are my boss. We answer to you guys. Yeah, what's your question?
What if you didn't know what the internet was, and you didn't have any stuff that you had that we have right now?
Yeah, so we know a lot about the internet and where it is, but it's not perfect. So we rely on you guys to tell us exactly what kind of connection you have. If you have a good connection, a bad one, if your phone's expensive, if you're paying too much, you can talk to us. And that's the thing, especially with the financial literacy that we're learning about now and saving money. If you want to save money, if you think that you can save money, and you think that someone's charging you too much, you can come to us and tell us, and we'll help you, right? So just know that whenever you're spending money, don't assume that you have to pay that amount. Assume that you can talk it through, or reach out to a government representative and see what we can do in order to help you out.
What do you exactly do at your job?
What exactly do I do at my job? I do listen to a lot of public participants. So we have these hearings where we allow everyone to come in and tell us how much they're paying for their electricity bill, their gas bill, right? There's all these things that are really expensive. And then I just talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of utilities. We're trying to get to 100% clean energy as well for climate, to stop climate change. So there's a lot of just collaboration with a lot of people in the public, like you guys. Anyone can participate, but also with private companies.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Jo. So this is what we're gonna do. Can we all say thank you to Miss Sheila Bear? Say thank you, Miss Sheila Bear. Can you say thank you, Mr. Johnson today? And can we thank all your teachers, your principal? And thank you to me.
And I want to say thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed meeting you and hearing your questions. Thank you, Bank of California, for amazing support. But most of all, thank you for the National Diversity Coalition and this amazing woman who's done so much for so many people over the years.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
seeing you all.
1, 2, 3, cheese!